Well, as for Saturday's League Two playoff final, Bradford's late charge saw them sneak into the playoffs after coming good in the last 3 months, eventually sealing their place in the playoffs with just one game to go. That meant the Bantams were now just 90 minutes away from a return to League One for the first time in 6 years. Standing in their way at Wembley, Northampton Town, who'd enjoyed a real revival under manager Eddie Boothroyd.
If you'd have given us the option of coming here for League Cup final or playoff final to get promotion, I'd have taken today every time.
It's been an expensive year for me, but it's worth it, well worth it. We've been in this division for 6 years, we need to get out of it. We need to get out, and this is the day.
Eddie Boothroyd's turned the town around. He's done magic since he's come in here.
He's the best manager we've had since we were last at Wembley. He's absolutely fantastic.
Well, straight to the action then. Watching this one for us was Nigel Adderley.
After 9 months scrapping away under the radar in the Football League's basement, the grandest stage this sport can offer is the backdrop for Bradford City and Northampton Town to contest the match which will define their seasons. Bradford have recent Wembley experience, of course, and 7 of the side thumped by Swansea in the League Cup final start here again. It's the same team which won at Burton in the semi-final second leg. Naki Wells scored twice that day and has 6 goals in his last 5 games against Northampton. Their manager Eddie Boothroyd has chosen to make a big call by dropping leading scorer Adebayo Akinfenwa to the bench. So Clive Platt starts his first match since the end of March. Goalkeeper Lee Nichols plays his final game on loan from Wigan and will hope to enjoy Wembley as much as his parent club did in the FA Cup final. Stephen Darby, who lost here with Swindon Town back in 2010 in the League One final. Bags of playoff experience on both sides here, both good and bad today. Seemed to be a wrestling match between Hansen and Cameron, but Bradford get the ball. Here's Reid. Tozer sticking with him very tightly again. Meredith, Hansen challenging. It'll come all the way through. And Hansen's waiting for the pullback. And Hansen comes up with the opening goal for Bradford. And after the gloom and doom at Wembley against Swansea City, it's a very different emotion now for those in claret and amber. The patient build-up, and Northampton was sucked in. They didn't pick up Gary Thompson, who picked out the head of James Hansen perfectly. His side have just got to stand firm for a few moments. Jones goes short towards Reid. And Reid's managed to get round the back beyond Gutteridge. This time the cross was beyond Hansen. But Doyle returns it back in, and it's a second goal! Rory McArdle and Bradford City surely have 1 foot in League One already. The side who never really turned up at Wembley on their last visit certainly have here today. A very similar build-up to the first one, superbly recycled by Doyle at the far post, and Rory McArdle with a bullet header. Another Bradford goal would surely seal this game already. Jones allowed to carry it forward. Now Hansen. Meredith. And Reid. Northampton can't get a kick in. Reid all the way to the byline again. Cameron's clearance. Darby. In towards Wells. And this time, Lee Nichols able to make the save. But Bradford so much in control here. And despite the deflection, it's an easy save for the goalkeeper. Doyle. Space for Meredith to charge forward from fullback. Now Reid. Another header towards goal, and there's a third goal! and it's Naki Wells. And surely it's game over with less than half an hour played. And yet again, the quality of Bradford's crossing causing problems, although there may have been a case for offside against Hansen. But Thompson winning the ball in the air, and nobody picked up Wells, who maintains his excellent goal-scoring record against the Cobblers. That's his 7th in their last 6 meetings. It's not a great day out when you're 3-0 down with half an hour played. And this Bradford side seem to have peaked in their league season just at the right time. Only 2 defeats in 15 league games to finish the season, following the League Cup final. And despite that first leg defeat at home to Burton in the playoffs, they got the job done in the second leg, and so far they're getting the job done here today, and it was almost 4-0. Bradford City here could and should be out of sight. It was Kyle Reid with the final touch. And he's not really seen his side create a clear-cut chance so far in the game. Hansen can't get the ball the first time of asking, but he almost gets it. Second time around, and it's a brilliant save from Nichols. It's a clearance from Carlisle in the end, the deflection off Hansen, and the reflexes of Nichols, keeping Northampton Town alive in the game. And in the 56th minute of the game, the Bradford fans rise to remember the 56 people who died in the fire at Valley Parade back in 1985. Hackett over the free kick. Short towards Harding, a couple of deflections, Akinfenwa. And he was unable to produce Northampton's first shot on target. But it's the first real moment of concern inside the Bradford penalty area. Wells. Playing the 1-2 with Thompson. Hansen waits, so too does Reid. And Kyle Reid will know he should have finished the contest there. And again, the Northampton back four drawn towards Hansen, and as a result, those around him get the opportunities. It's good football from Bradford. Their dominance has been underlined with some great play, and almost finding Wells to make it 4. As we tick into the final minute of added time. Harding going for goal in the end. Well, it's their first shot on target in the 94th minute. Derby conceding the throw-in. And Bradford City have been such an effective unit today. And it's their day. Phil Parkinson can celebrate. A marathon season has a glorious conclusion for Bradford City. The lowest ranked former Premier League club begin to make their way back up the Football League pyramid.
Wow, from stacking the shelves at the Co-op to a Wembley goal, wow.
Yeah, I know, I've always dreamt it, even when we were playing Swansea, 3 months ago, and just a nice feeling it's gone in, and, the delight for the fans and all the players.
We knew that the promotion was going to be our aim from the start. Obviously, the League Cup speaks for itself, and to finally get here and accomplish what we set out to do, it's absolutely fantastic.
It's been a really poor end to a fantastic season. But what we can't do is sulk, and you're right, we can't sulk. We'll lick our wounds and we'll come back, because in my experience you've got to use things like this to spur you on. It ain't the first time that I've had a setback, and it's certainly not our team's first time I've had a setback, so we'll be back, mate.
Gary Jones leads his team up to receive the trophy. And after 64 games, they've still got the energy to head up the steps and receive the acclaim. A hug from the chairman, who has done so much to revive Bradford City. And after their financial meltdown and tumble down the divisions, Bradford City are on their way back.
Well, this was our 64th game today, you know, over a marathon season. And I thought first half we blew Northampton away. You know, with Naki and James Hanson up front, you can win any football game.
The manager had a lot of faith in me. And starting from pre-season, he told me, you know, he brought me in and said, this year, you need to be the highest goal scorer in the league. You know, I didn't do that, but, you know, I notched in 26 goals. So it's been a great season. I play consistently and I score consistently.
This is more important than the Capital One final, because obviously this shapes the future of the club, and the club's been in the bottom tier for too long. To get back in the first division is a great achievement, and hopefully we can push on from here.
Is the manager going to be stepping out with him in League One next season?
Yeah, hopefully. You know, when we've had the celebrations die down, myself and the staff will sit down with the board of directors, and hopefully we will all be here next year.
They didn't just do it, did they? They did what Swansea did to us. They beat them, and they deserve all the plaudits, but magnificent, magnificent. Worth the 7 years of rubbish.
Yeah, good to see Mark Lawn smiling again, because they've clearly had some testing times at Bradford in recent years. But was it a case of Bradford adapting to the conditions quicker, courtesy of that cup final only 3 months ago?
Yeah, that was certainly the case. They were ready. You know, they didn't make the same mistakes that they made against Swansea in the cup final, and Northampton just didn't turn up, it has to be said, and I think AD will be disappointed with that first half performance. But you put the two together and you get that absolutely outstanding first half from Bradford.
Bradford, I mean, put the game to bed in effect after half an hour. And what will irritate AD Boothroyd more than anything is that all three goals were quite similar.
They were, all from crosses, but you have to say the midfield four of Bradford are outstanding. It's Thompson who gets the ball back in, and Hanson with a fantastic header. You see his first run is to the far post. It misses everybody, and then he makes his way to the far post again. Thompson knows that. It's still a very difficult header. He puts it in the one place where he can score and loops it over the keeper. And then you see, again, it's a cross from Reid on the left-hand side, who had a terrific game. Again, the ball's retrieved, but again, McArdle then makes a near-post run, and they covered all the bases. Every time that ball went into the box, near post, far post, and they retrieved the ball on every occasion. And Northampton just couldn't deal with it, and it's a terrific header by McArdle that beats the keeper at the near post. And then finally, you know, this one, it's a lovely header by Thompson, who gets in on the far post, and Naki Wells finishes that off really well. It makes it look a lot easier than it actually is, but he beats the keeper on his near post.
It's a good finish. He's had a terrific season as a Bermuda international, and credit to the stamina of those core players who've played in a lot of the games this season. I mean, that was their 64th of the campaign, and you don't find teams, particularly in the bottom tier, playing that many.
No, unbelievable amount of games. But they knew they had to dig deep. And what Phil Parkinson's always been, he was a fit player himself, and they've been remarkably fit. But what I was really pleased about is the way they moved the ball. I know loads of teams will say, look, it came from crosses. But the way they moved the ball in midfield with Jones and Doyle, and they switched the play. Not only did they play long balls up to Hanson, they mixed it up.
Yeah.
And Northampton just couldn't cope with it.
And the way they bounced back from the Carling Cup defeat as well at the hands of Swansea, 3 defeats in 18 games. That's a real show of character.
Look, you have to say, I thought they were out of it. You know, after that and the disappointing and the manner in which they lost that game, you think, yeah, look, there's no chance they can bounce back from that. But there's real belief in that club. They set themselves up financially with that cup run. They're now in League One. Yeah, they can only look forward.
You know, as for Northampton, I suppose some of their fans won't be entirely surprised how their team fared at Wembley, considering, I mean, they had the second worst away record in that division to Barnet, who were relegated. But were you surprised that Bayo Akinfenwa didn't start the contest?
I was in one sense. I thought you might just give him a little bit more mobility. Clive Platt started up front, and you know he's a good, experienced centre forward. But I thought Addy might just give him a little bit different. But then again, he hadn't scored in the last 14 games. So you can understand, you know, why AD maybe didn't punt for him. But I don't think it would have made any difference to that Bradford performance in the first half.
No, they were clinical. Well, let's have a look then who else will be joining the Bantams in League One next season. You get the impression all four of those sides are going to hold their own in that division. Although, I mean, there's been interesting boardroom movement at Port Vale with one of the recent owners has now sold his stake, Keith Wilds. But what about their chances of...
I don't think any of those teams will look out of place in League One. And if they can keep the momentum going, I expect a couple of those teams to be challenging at the top end as well.
OK.